Picture the last birthday you remember really, really clearly. Think about the room you were in, the faces of the people around you, the cake. Can you picture it? You probably feel absolute certainty about those details. But here's the kind of unsettling truth. Your brain might have just totally invented half of it.
Welcome to The Explainer. I'm super excited to get into this with you today because we're going to completely shatter how you think about your own mind. We usually think of our memory like a video file on a phone, right? You see something, it gets saved, and later on you just press play. But as we'll see from the data today, memory is actually a reconstruction. It's a living document that gets edited, tweaked, and rewritten every single time you open it. And by the end of this, you're going to see just how incredibly easy it is to plant a totally false memory into anyone's head.
All right, let's dive into this with a quick demonstration. I'm going to read a list of words. Don't write anything down, just listen and try to remember them. Ready? Here we go. Bed, rest, awake, tired, dream, wake, snooze, blanket, doze, slumber, snore, nap, yawn, drowsy.
Okay, now without rewinding, I've got a really simple question for you. Was the word sleep on that list? Take a second. Most people feel absolutely certain they heard that specific word. You probably distinctly remember my voice saying it.
Well, the word sleep was never actually on there, not once. You can go back and check if you want, but it wasn't there. You just watched your own brain generate a false memory right in real time.
What you just went through is one of the most reliable experiments in psychology. It's called the DRM paradigm. That list you heard was carefully built from words that all orbit one missing central concept. And your brain, trying to be super helpful, acts almost like an overeager autocorrect and just quietly adds in the missing piece. When researchers do this, about half of all people don't just guess that the missing word was there, they genuinely, vividly remember hearing it. Your brain literally just lied to you.
Part 1, one word changes everything. The 1974 car crash study.
Back in 1974, a groundbreaking psychologist named Elizabeth Loftus ran this incredibly famous study. She brought people into a lab and had everyone watch the exact same video of a staged car accident. Afterward, she split them into two groups and changed just a single crucial verb in her follow-up question. One group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they hit each other? But the other group was asked, how fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other?
Just think about the difference in those numbers. The people who heard the word hit estimated the cars were going about 32 miles per hour. But the people who heard the word smashed guessed they were going nearly 40 miles per hour. One single verb changed their memory of what they saw by almost 9 miles an hour.
But it gets crazier. A week later, Loftus brought those exact same people back and asked them, did you see any broken glass? Here's the huge catch. There was absolutely zero broken glass in that original film. None.
And this brilliantly illustrates what we call the misinformation effect. The folks who had been asked about the cars smashing were way more likely to just invent the memory of broken glass. The information that arrived after the event, that word smashed, didn't just sit next to their memory. It got folded seamlessly right into the recording. Their memory physically bent to fit the language they were exposed to.
So yeah, a word can tweak a detail like the speed of a car or some broken glass, but it goes so much deeper than that. As this striking quote from the research reminds us, they didn't change a memory, they built one from nothing. We're not just talking about editing a memory anymore. We are talking about fabricating one entirely from scratch.
Part 2, a memory from nothing. The Lost in the Mall study.
In another fascinating study, researchers gave ordinary people 4 stories from their childhood. 3 of them were totally true, but one was complete fiction about getting lost in a shopping mall, crying, and eventually being rescued by an elderly stranger. That event never occurred. Yet, between a quarter and a third of all people eventually remembered this entirely fabricated event happening to them.
And they didn't just passively agree with the researchers, their brains decorated the whole thing. People started describing the clothes of the stranger who rescued them. They recalled the intense, paralyzing fear they felt. They described exactly what this mall looked like, a mall they had never even been lost in. When they were finally told the memory was fake, some of them fiercely defended it. The brain didn't just retrieve a false event, it manufactured it in vivid, high definition, making it feel exactly as real as an actual memory.
Part 3, confessing to nothing. The highest stakes.
Now, it's one thing to make someone think they got lost in a mall as a kid, but gentle suggestions can actually scale up to the highest stakes imaginable. What happens when researchers try to plant a memory of a serious crime using just 3 calm, friendly interviews? Well, in a major study, Researchers suggested to regular people that, as teenagers, they committed a crime serious enough to involve the police. By the third interview, around 70% of participants had confessed to a crime they never committed, giving rich, vibrant details. Now, I want to be completely honest here and clarify that this exact 70% figure is hotly debated by other scientists who argue the real number is a bit lower. But even the critics agree on the scariest part. With the right prompts, you can lead an honest person to vividly remember committing a crime that exists exclusively in their own head.
This isn't just some quirky trick in a lab. This has tragic, real-world consequences. Memory-based misidentification is literally a leading cause of wrongful convictions that are later overturned by DNA evidence. For decades, the most powerful thing in a courtroom was a highly confident, sincere eyewitness pointing a finger. But those completely sincere witnesses have sent innocent people to prison, not because they were lying, but simply because their brains found a gap, filled it with a guess, and then completely believed the fill.
Part 4. Why Your Brain Lies, a feature not a bug.
Which leads us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? If human memory is this fragile, this easily hacked, and this prone to inventing reality, why on earth did evolution build a system we can't completely trust? Why does your brain lie to you? Well, because memory isn't a recording. It's a prediction machine. Storing a perfect, rigid, forte video of every second of your life is just way too expensive for your brain's resources. So instead, your brain keeps the general gist, the basic meaning, and throws away the raw footage. When you want to remember something, it reconstructs the details on the fly using your current mood, your expectations, and the context around you.
Memory isn't built to be accurate. It's built to be useful. This constant remixing of information is actually a massive superpower. It lets us learn from the past, generalize rules, and beautifully imagine the future. But the steep price we pay for that flexibility is that our past isn't fixed. Our history is a living document, and we basically press save over every single time we open it.
If you take nothing else away from our explainer today, take this golden rule. Confidence is not proof. The vividness of a memory, that deep emotional certainty you feel, right in your chest, none of that actually proves it happened. Because a completely false memory and a perfectly true memory feel exactly 100% identical from the inside.
So, the next time you find yourself arguing over a detail from the past, absolutely sure, completely certain about a memory you hold dear, just remember, so are the people who remembered the word sleep, so are the people who remembered the broken glass, and so are the people who remembered them all. They were absolutely sure, and their brains invented every single second of it. Thanks for exploring this with me today.